Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room live stream with myself, Paul, Menti, and Tom. Thank you guys so much for joining us today in our Liverpool versus Sheffield United match preview for our game tomorrow at 7:30 UK time. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Bit of housekeeping before we start. Please make sure to like and subscribe. We're nearly at 10k. We're at 9,800 and something at the moment. I think there's only about 150 left before we hit our 10k mark. So let's try and hit that before the January transfer window. Make sure all of your notifications are on for all future streams and videos. We released our In Case You Missed It just a little bit before this stream at 6:30, and tomorrow at 5 o'clock we will have our predicted 11 for our game against Sheffield United, and that was done by myself, so please do like and support that as well. But without further ado, let us get into this match preview, and we'll get through some of the news a little bit quick, and we'll just start talking about the match itself. There's been a couple of injury updates in relation to Joel Matip, and Alisson was mentioned yesterday about Alisson on the stream that he's back in training and expected to be back for the United game. That was confirmed today by Jurgen Klopp in his press conference. He's expected back for the United game. So our prediction yesterday of resting him for the Palace game was correct. There's no need for him. Realistically, Keller is going to play tonight at the weekend and then next week against USG. To be honest, I'd rather see Pitaluga against USG, but I doubt he's going to do that. And then Alisson will be back for the United game, where he'll probably not have much to do there. It might as well be a rest game from there too. Joel Matip, no confirmed length of time yet, but Klopp has mentioned that it doesn't look good. So thankfully, we have Kwanzaa and Gomes there to fill in as centre-back help, and Joe Gomes to fill in as right-back help if needed as well. However, we are running a little bit thin at that position, which I would like to see us start looking at possibly reinforcing in this January transfer window. I'm not sure about what the rest of the guys are doing. But we have a game tomorrow, and we need to talk about that game. So, Menti, you mentioned today about statistical stats, or a little bit earlier, just before the stream started, about Arsenal not having a great run of form against Luton in recent times. Liverpool have won their past 5 games against Sheffield United. However, the last 5 times we've gone to Sheffield United, we've not won any of them. We've drawn 2 and lost 2. Considering this is an away game, managerial change, so a new manager bounce, and we've conceded away from home so far every time first in the past 6 appearances that we've had. Do any of those numbers scare you at all, or any worries about tomorrow? Even if we did concede first, does it worry you? I'd like a clean sheet because I'd kind of heard my FPL, but I'll take a 3-1, 4-1 win. I won't be too selfish about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried too much about it. They're dead last in the Premier League. They have a goal differential of -28, so I'm not too worried about it. It's either going to be a 1-0 or like a 7-0. I don't see anything in between.
Yeah.
And clean sheet, I think it'll happen. It's Sheffield. When I watched them this season, they're awful. That's just the only way I can describe it. And if we do have problems, that's just a concern to our coaching staff that they gotta, get it together. Because if you want to make this title run, you got to win these games, and you got to, let other teams know, okay, we could contend this season.
Yeah, I agree. This is a game that we need to go in, finish it early, get the guys out. Similarly to how we thought the Luton game would go. Let's hope that's not a bad omen. I'll touch wood. But as Jamie mentioned, it's a letdown match. It's a trap game. It could very easily end up 3-0 Sheffield if we're not on our game. These are Premier League teams. These are professional players playing in the first division of English football. We can't necessarily take this lightly. If we were up 3-0 at halftime and we bring on some subs and park everybody behind the ball and let everybody rest for the weekend, I'd be very happy with that. I'd love that sort of a result. Tom, as Menti mentioned, Sheffield don't seem to be a very big goal-scoring threat. Now, I have the stats here of how they've performed so far this season. They've conceded 39 in their first 14 Premier League games, which is nuts. They've had the fewest shots in total with 121, and they've faced the most shots with 266, 107 of those being on target. As Menti mentioned, is this good? Do you see this being a multiple score game, or do you see this being similarly to Luton, a grind it out and a 1, maybe 2-1 victory that's going to be hard fought?
You'd like to think it'd be a comfortable one. Obviously, we've got title aspirations this year, and if you're really going to go for the league, you've got to be brushing these sides away, really, haven't you? I mean, the 3 points is what you want, but
Yeah.
ideally you want to be doing it in a good fashion against a team like this. As you said, there's no other way to describe them. They've been absolutely terrible this season. They've been shipping goals left, right, and centre. They can't put it in the other way, so it should be a comfortable win. But our away form against these sides over the last year or so is a bit of a cause for concern. So, like I said, I'd take a 1-0 right now, but you would like to see us really sort of bring our A game and sort of put a statement out there to City and Arsenal.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if Burnley can put 5 past them in the last game, I can't see why we can't do something similar, Paul. It's does our run of form against lower league teams and our run of form against away teams, like playing away from home with conceding first and finding it hard to break down these very, very low block and park the bus teams, does that concern you at all about tomorrow, even with it being away from home? Or are Sheffield that bad that you feel quality should overtake and we should win this game?
I'm not really too worried. Well, worry is probably too strong a word, but I'm a little bit concerned because of our recent history in breaking down these kind of teams when we are away. Looking at the Sheffield United players, there is not one that I can think of that would even make up the bench of one of the top 6 teams. So just going by that and looking at their record, it should be a stroll in the park for us. But we have seen this movie before. I will never forget beating who did we beat 9-0 at Anfield and then lost 1-0 away? Bournemouth. Yes. That was a game that I thought we could have won 3-4 going into the game. So we should win, and we should win quite comfortably, but I will still be a little bit nervous until I see the first couple of goals go into the back of the net, just because we know what can happen. I'm not so sure how real this new manager bounce is, but I guess there is something to it. So we should win. I expect to win, but I will take a 1-0 to be fair. I just need the 3 points.
Yeah, that's my opinion on it as well. 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter if you score 1 or you score 7. Realistically, the points don't change as long as you get a win. At this stage, and I think I've just grown into this attitude, I don't necessarily care about performances on any given day, but I care about them over a prolonged period of time. And this was mentioned in the group chat yesterday or the day before, that kind of complacency of letting in those goals is not sustainable. But again, it doesn't matter how you win as long as you win. That's my opinion on it, the way we look at it. And Halier mentions here another way to describe Sheffield is that's the worst home team in the Premier League. He does clarify that in 2 comments time, and he says Burnley's worst at home. That they've only 1 win, 1 draw, and 5 losses with 7 goals scored and 19 conceded. Again, Halier, I understand that, and the lads understand that, but it's purely just.
Who did Sheffield United beat? I think they have 1 win, right? Who did they win?
Yeah.
Defeat?
I think it was against Wolves. Let me double check for you guys. Yeah, they beat Wolves 2-1.
And
I remember that game. It was 2 late winners, or wasn't it? It was a late goal.
And a penalty in like 90th plus 10, I think.
Yeah.
And the game we played on Sunday also gave me more confidence that we should win, primarily because this Sunday game I can't remember Liverpool scoring 4 goals with none coming from the forwards. I can't remember the last time that happened. So what it is showing is that if we can get goals from midfield and we are not relying on getting this intricate pass into the feet of Mo Salah or Luis Diaz, and we can so that is probably more comforting, because I could see, Darwin Núñez running down to a rebound from a long shot, that kind of stuff. So I think we are more equipped than the last few years to break down these teams, but we still have to go out and do it.
Yeah, 100%. And Tom, I completely agree with what Paul has mentioned. Like, we need to take this game by the throat, finish it by halftime, pull our starters, and let some reserves go out and play the last half, considering this is a very busy December schedule. Like, we have Crystal Palace, then we have the away game at USG, and then we have another home. Then we're back home again against Man United. So and it just
then
keeps
Arsenal,
and then Arsenal as well. On top of that, then we've Burnley. Then we have Newcastle straight after it. We've a tough. I say tough run of games, but it's not an easy run of games at the same time. So you'd like to get these mulligans, so to speak, finished early so you can get the main guys off and not have to worry about it and have them rested well for the next game. We had the same conversation before the Palace game, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. They've not done us any favours again after with the scheduling. Obviously, Sunday, Wednesday, then Saturday lunchtime in it. So about 2.5 days rest after this game with to Palace, both away games as well. So far from ideal. I'm sure Jürgen won't be happy with BT putting us on their slot again. But yeah, I agree. We definitely need to try and get it won early if we can. I think a couple of players are looking tired lately, especially Szoboszlai. I think he's dropped off massively last 5-6 games. Not too much cause for concern, but there is a massive drop off there. I think he's just looking tired. He's looking a bit leggy compared to the start of the season where he just didn't stop running, did he? And Diaz as well. I think I don't know. Obviously, he had the whole thing with his dad going on, but I think he's looked just off it lately as well. So a few players looking off it. Very busy schedule. So yeah, it would be nice to get it wrapped up early, get a few early goals.
That thing about Diaz is something I wanted to bring up actually as well, and I'll come to yourself on this, Paul. Is I understand the context of, obviously, look, we can't even begin to comprehend what's happened with his dad and the emotional and everything that he went through. Like, he quite literally thought he lost his mum and his dad, and still came out and scored the equaliser with Luton, and the mental capacity that it takes for that to be done and the mental toughness for that to be done is remarkable on itself. But have you been a little bit worried about his performances since that Luton game, or is it no cause for concern whatsoever?
No, I'm not really that concerned. Yes, he's slightly below the standard that we have grown to, come to be accustomed with Lucha. But this year, because we have so many options, and also because we have 5 subs, we are allowed to have 1 or 2 players slightly off the ball. Mo Salah has not been on it this year as well. We don't really notice it because when you look at the stats, he's still having his goals and his assists. But his overall play is not what we have come to know and expect from Mo Salah over the last several years. So we are winning as a team because we have a good team. The only players that I think has been really on it this year is probably Trent, VVD, the captain. Other than that, we have got a lot of good performances here and there. But Curtis Jones seems to be hot and cold. Harvey Elliott, should he start? Should he come off the bench? Endo, should we start him? Should we bring him in when we're losing, when we're leading, that kind of stuff? So what gives me hope is the squad depth, because this is the first time in Klopp's era we have 6 midfielders, and any 3 that he decided to choose for a game, nobody is saying, what is he thinking? Right? So if we decide to give Szoboszlai a rest, we have cover. So I would probably give Lucho a rest for this game and start Cody Gakpo. But I am not too concerned because of the squad depth, and the guys seem to have a very good camaraderie. Nobody seems to be sulking when they're on the bench. So I think I still believe that we can challenge for the league this year, because Man City does not look like the Man City of old. So yes, I'm a little concerned with Lucha, but I think he'll be fine.
Menti, you have a similar opinion that the drop off in form, we can chalk it down to maybe some mental fatigue with what he's gone through and everything. But to be honest, I think he deserves a bit of a break. I think the likes of Szoboszlai deserve a break. I'd like to see a midfield trio of MacAllister, Gravenberch, and Endo, myself personally. Maybe even see Gakpo on the left wing, Darwin up the middle, and Salah on the right. I think that'll be absolutely fucking terrifying for any defense that looks at that. Are you worried about the drop off of some of these guys, or is it purely a wall that they've hit at the moment and they're going to get through it? It's just the wall that people hit at the Christmas period, considering how busy it is.
Yeah, I think it's a wall. It's just something that they got to get through. Like you said, when Lucho, that whole family thing, you just got to give it time. We all know the capabilities that he has. And in terms of the rotation you were talking about, yeah, it's about time we start, mixing it up a little bit, give the guys some rest. But yeah, I just see that as like a mental thing, and maybe, give them a little bit of rest before we start playing those, harder matches.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because considering like some players played a very hard 90 minutes, and Darwin is one of those players. He done an awful lot of work off the ball, and he done an awful lot of pressing. He was instrumental in the final 2 goals. If you go back and watch it, he was the one that headed it down to Salah, who then passed it back to Endo, who scored the equaliser. And then he also followed Cody Gakpo's shot in, put the crossover, which then fell back down to Trent, who got the winning goal. So realistically, Darwin put in a major shift, even if he didn't score, and missed that one-on-one with the keeper. But Tom, give me your starting 11 and who you'd have, and if you make any changes or even formation changes. Give us the whole 11 and let's see what we think.
Yeah, obviously Callagher. I'd go Trent, go Canate, Van Dijk, Costas. I agree with your midfield. I'd go Endo. I think he's been really, really good lately when he's played. Very tenacious, isn't he? Like great in the tackle, keeps it simple, but in a good way. Progressive passing. So I'd put him in there. Put MacAllister in his favourite position further forward alongside Gravenberg, and then I agree. I'd go Salah, Darwin, Gakpo. I think, like we were saying, Szoboszlai and Diaz definitely need the rest. So yeah, that'd be my team.
Menti, any changes to that, or would you be in much of an agreement? Maybe even a formation change, or would you be happy with that?
No, I'd be happy with that. The only thing I would change is I would put Jones in there. I don't know if you said Jones in there, but I'd definitely
McAllister and Gravenberch was his midfield.
Yeah, so I would do Endo, McAllister, and maybe Jones.
Jones is left or right? Yeah.
I think he's capable enough. Like I've seen like Klopp just play players in like multiple positions, but I do want to just see that 3.
Are you worried about his recent dip in form though? Because like realistically, Jones has been a bit of a passenger in play the past while. Again, could it be the fact that they've hit a wall, or is it just purely that he runs hot and cold, unfortunately, which has been the trend for his whole career?
I think he'll be fine, just because when he got the 3-match ban, I feel like he was just in a great form, and when that hit, you could see like a slight dip, but that's something like I think he'll bounce back from for sure. He did have a couple bad games, but I see him coming back for sure. He's a good player, very good player.
Paul, I'll give you a controversial question. If Curtis Jones wasn't Scouse, would he be in this team?
You mean in the squad or the 11? In the
We'll say both, squad or starting 11.
Well, I don't have him in my starting 11, so that's that. I don't think he's in the team in Klopp's plans because of his Scouse. I think Klopp sees and like a lot about Curtis Jones. Because a year ago, a lot of us, well, me, I can say, were calling for, time to let this guy go. But even some of the time when he was selected to start, I was pulling out my hair if I don't have any, right? But no, I think he's good. Last year, towards the end of the season last year, he was probably knocking on maybe an England selection. And what is he, 23? 23, 22? Yeah. No, I think I think if we try to sell him, I think we could get 40 million for him easily. So no, I think he's a good player. So I don't think he's there because of he's a Liverpool born and bred. I think he's there because he's quality.
See, I'm so conflicted on Jones myself because.
Okay, Stephen, before you continue, if you had to choose Jones or Harvey Elliott, you need to let one go.
Harvey Elliott. I feel Harvey Elliott has a higher ceiling, but Jones is a higher floor, if that makes sense.
So you would keep Harvey or you would let Harvey Elliott go?
I'd keep Harvey Elliott. I feel Harvey Elliott has a higher ceiling. And if I had to be, I'd rather keep the two of them, but if I had to be cutthroat, I think Jones isn't going to improve as much from this point on as Harvey Elliott could. And I think there's a lot of potential there in Harvey Elliott's game that you could possibly, he has the potential to become an unbelievable player. Curtis Jones does too, but I've just seen so much of Jones so far. And Harvey Elliott's 2 years his junior. He's only 20. So he's got that on his side as well. If I had to pick between the two of them, I would pick Elliott purely because I feel he has a higher potential and a higher ceiling. As of right now, I'm happy with the two of them. But it is a question that some Liverpool fans and other fans from other teams do mention, is that if he wasn't Scouse, would he be in the team? Because there has been performances where we're like, what? And this is not a slight on him at all, but I'm only using it as a descriptive term. There has been some performances where people have said he's Henderson 2.0, and there have been performances where I can see that happening. But Harvey Elliott's had some stinkers too. But I think has.
On the flip side, before this midfield rebuild, Curtis Jones was the only midfielder we had last season who we could depend on to pop up with a goal outside of the forwards. So yes, he has had some stinkers, but he has had some really good, important minutes for us.
No, he does, and I'll always remember his goal in the Merseyside derby, Curtis Jones's goal. That was a fantastic goal that just pings into the top bins. It was beautiful, but it's a tough one. It really is. And I got the starting 11s from Tom and Menti. Paul, give me your starting 11. Would you make any changes from Tom or Menti's?
The only change I would make is I would sit Gravenberch. For a young guy, he just doesn't seem to be able to do 90 minutes. He seems to run out of steam after half an hour, 60 minutes. So I would probably start Endo, MacAllister, and Harvey Elliott. Give Szoboszlai a break. We can bring him on if we need him, as well as Gravenberch off the bench. Gravenberch coming on with 30 minutes to go if we need a goal with his nifty moves, can take on players. That's more of an asset than to have him start in a game like this. I think that would be my three. But I think, we're pulling straws here. Any three starts, we should be able to get the job done.
It's more so looking at it from a minutes point of view, because the last couple of seasons, Salah has seemed to have a little bit of a dip in the end of January, February, maybe even into the start of March, purely because of AFCON and his international tournaments. And some would question that Klopp's use of him, similarly to how against Lask he brought on 3 starting 11 players when we were up by a couple of goals, which weren't necessarily needed. Tom, do you think that he relies on our starters a little bit too much in those gimme games that we're already up by 1 or 2? And do you think maybe we should see a little bit more rest, particularly for the likes of a Salah who's in his 30s now, and we really should be wrapping in bubble wrap, so to speak? I understand his health has always been fantastic, but everybody's healthy until they're not.
Yeah, I do think he manages the squad quite well, actually, but I think Salah is the one where, especially last week against Lask, he started, didn't he, Salah? I didn't understand that at all. I thought that was a game for Ben Doak, definitely, to get some experience under his belt. Like I said, I didn't understand that one at all, but I think he's just so driven, isn't he, to get these goals and get his goal record up for us, that he's probably just causing a headache for Klopp, so he just thinks, I'll just put him in, give him an hour maybe. But yeah, I definitely think we need to manage Salah more. Obviously, he is in his 30s now, so do need to give him some more rest. But apart from that, I do think we managed the squad quite well. Maybe Van Dijk could do a rest soon. Obviously, he's had his injuries last couple of years. But yeah, no, I think overall, bar Salah, we do manage things quite well, to be fair.
I think to be honest, the only reason he was left on for so long was in Lask, because possibly to try and get his 200th goal and then just yank him. And then he didn't get anything against Fulham, unfortunately, when he was on 199. So I reckon he gets his 200 and he's pulled from this if we're up 2-0 at the time. I think that might be the way that it goes. 2 questions that I have here. The first one I'm going to throw to Menti is who Revanite asks, who is the higher ceiling, by Chedditch or Elliott? And who would you keep out of the 2 of them?
If I had to choose one, I'll more likely be by Tetris. That's just me. Just because whenever you see someone play at that young age, he was just so good, and he hasn't even fully grown into his body. I definitely could see Bajcetic, just because you see Klopp out here like fighting for him, saying that he's the future six of the club. So it's definitely got to be Bajcetic for me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. As high as I spoke about Elliott's ceiling, I think Bajcetic has possibly the ability to become world class. Paul, Tom, would you guys both be in agreement in relation to that? Do you think it'd be Bajcetic over Elliott? Paul, I'll come to you first.
100%. 100%. Plus, Bajcetic is more versatile. He can play as the 8, which is Harvey's position, even though Harvey might be considered a winger. Bajcetic, his best position is probably the 6. He plays at a centre back, I think, for Spain under 21. And I think we have also seen put in a shift at right back. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to lose any, but if I have to, then Elliott would be the one to go.
Tom, would you be in agreement? As Hellier mentions here, we don't know where he is at the moment physically, obviously with his injury. Hellier is more so, to my knowledge, and anybody please feel free to correct me, it's purely growing pains, to put no uncertain term on it. It's just we're trying to avoid something similar to the likes of Amrabat and Hoyland, where they have stress fractures in their bones, which is a career-long managing injury, because that never gets fixed unless you have surgery. So that would possibly be why I think we're resting him and being very careful with him. But Tom, I'll throw the same question to yourself. Elliott or Bajcetic, out of the two, if you had to keep one, is there a particular choice that you would have?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep Bajcetic as well. Obviously, the injury is a concern, isn't it? It's about just under a year now, isn't it? Which is obviously very concerning for his age. You wonder how he's going to come back, but that period last season, he was just exceptional. And we talked about it last week, weren't we? That do we want like a technical 6 or like a tackler? And I think he showed that he's got both. So
yeah,
it is so disappointing that he's been out for so long, because I do think he could be the answer for us. He could save us 50, 60 mil that we might don't spend on a 6. So yeah, for me, although Elliott's very talented as well, I think he's done really well this season. Actually, when he's played, quite underrated actually. But I'd go Bajcetic still, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that. I think Bajcetic just probably has the higher ceiling, the ability to possibly become world class, and I think it's. I believe he did. Revanite, he had some growing pains as well. Just he needed to grow into his body. It happens at that age where you just like you're between. So you're not a teenager, but you're not an adult. You're between the two. And it's where your body might be most vulnerable at that point to some long-term injuries. But thankfully, they've seen sense to wrapping him in bubble wrap, and he'll be back when he's back, and they're not rushing him back from his recovery. Question now I want to ask, and Paul, I'll start with yourself on this one. Sheffield have conceded the most goals, and they've had the most on-target shots against them so far in the Premier League through 14 games. Where do you see us attacking? Do we attack from the midfield, the wing? Do we attack centrally through Darwin Núñez or Cody Gakpo, depending on who starts?
Well, when you play low block teams, you have to make the field wide, big, because they want to be compact. They want to be, everybody 4 or 5 guys in the box, and try and deny the space. So that is when you need your fullbacks to overlap. You need Diaz to be, stretching the field and dare them to come out. So I think we should stretch the field, go down the wings, get the midfielders involved, and if we have to take some pop shots from outside the box, sure, go ahead and do it. I just remember that one of their best players might be out, because they normally play 5-4-1 with what's the guy? The guy that elbowed the guy and got red carded Sunday, McBurney.
Yes.
So he should be suspended, I think. So that's another headache, because he, I think, was their only goal threat. So don't be surprised if they're playing 5-5 and nobody up front that try to hit us on the counter. But low block teams, you have to make the field as big as you can. So I would expect to see a lot of overlapping down the wings, people cutting back on their right foot, Salah on his left foot, and Klopp telling the midfielders, listen, if you see the shot, take the shot. because sometimes you don't necessarily score from 35, 40 yards, but a rebound, a foul in the box, a handball, you have to keep them busy. That is how I
Yeah.
think is our best way to attack it. If we
Yeah.
try to be too, yes, you might always sit and go, you must be patient and play the ball around, but they are comfortable to just sit back and allow you to play with the ball. So, you have to be more than just that, because they're not going to come out. So you have to go and get them.
Yeah, Sheffield will be happy with a draw in this game, and we won't be, which is why they know they have the advantage in that sense. They know we need to attack them, and they can sit and play on the counter if they want, which is similar to what Luton did. And Luton basically cracked the recipe for trying to beat teams like that. Now, there could be a multitude of issues that were there in the Luton game, but Menti, I'll throw the same question to yourself. And where do you feel that we attack? Do we attack centrally and hit them down the middle? Do we use our midfielders to create? As Revan here mentions, we need to utilize Trent and MacAllister from the outside. Sorry, that comment didn't show. Utilize Trent and MacAllister outside, or what's the situation? Where do you see us mostly playing? Do we pull it wide like Paul has advised?
I think it might be a combination. Because last game we did see them just attacking outside the box, great goals. But this game, since we're playing Sheffield, it's like where you want to see them start getting better performances that show us an indication that we can make a good run. So I think it's going to be a little bit more like, central, and then Salah just trying to get that 200th goal. So I do see the front line going a little bit more crazy compared to the midfield last game. You'll still see Trent doing his thing, but I think it might be going down more central today. Or tomorrow.
Are you in agreement, Tom? More central, like Paula said central. Paula said wing. Excuse me. Mentia said central. Do you feel like it's one or the other, or does it feel like a mixture of both? Apologies, Menti said a mixture of both, not only central. Do you feel like there's going to be a mixture of both, or do you feel like we'll attack one specific area?
Yeah, probably a mixture. To be fair, obviously they're going to be compact. There's going to be not much space in behind, so you need to keep the ball well. I think that's why I play Endo, because he does, although he's limited, he does keep the ball very well, keeps it ticking over. So, I think a bit of both. Like I said, it's keeping the ball. It's when you see Man City play these teams, they just pass them to death, don't they? And that's when the openings come. So, I think you want to get your technical players on the field, just keep the ball low, keep it moving fast, and you should hope against a team like the stats you read there about the defensive stats. You'd like to think the gaps would open up, and we should put them to the sword. Yeah,
we'd hope so. The last time we beat them by more than one goal, funnily enough, was 2007. I think that was the last time we beat them. I think it's been 2-1s and 1-0s in the 4 matches after that. But I think the last time we beat them by more than 2 goals was 2007. So they will sit in a low block, but then again, the teams that we played them in, the last time we played them was about 2 years ago in the Premier League. We won 2-1, and that was at home. So realistically, it's just breaking down the low block, and that seems to be a problem for us, but hopefully that we can do it. On the other side of things, I'll come back to yourself, Tom, as well, is where do you think we're weak? Is there a particular place where, similarly to Luton, how they sat in their low block and then countered, is it a similar situation, or we would be weak in that instance, or do you feel like we have a weakness elsewhere on an attack?
I don't think there's like a particular weakness, but like we said, we do seem to struggle in these away games against the low blocks. I'm not sure what it is, because at Anfield we brush them aside with no problem normally. So it must be a mentality thing, really, mustn't it? I don't think there's any other explanation, which is quite surprising, really, considering like we were the mentality monsters. But like I said, we comfortably dispatched them at Anfield mostly, so there's got to be just a mental block there. So it's a strange one, but hopefully the caliber of the opposition we're playing tomorrow, we should have a comfortable win and sort of get our confidence up in these sort of away games.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I think this just comes down, Menti, to us getting an early goal, settling into the game, because as Paul mentioned yesterday on stream, as the minutes tick on, the nerves will kick in, and the anxiety or restlessness, so to speak, would kick in as well, where we're like, okay, now we need a goal, and we may get desperate, and we may then get caught in the counter. Do you feel that we have a weakness in that sense of taking our time breaking down a low block when we should just kind of say fuck it and just go for it and start attacking, all out attack, and to hell with the consequences?
Not right now, just because of the opponent we're playing. I don't think we have too much of a weakness. But usually, whenever we do play like a little bit better teams like Fulham, you saw that they were just hitting us on the right or left side. Like when Samikas, he did great, but he got dunked on. And then a couple of times, whenever Trent goes in, they would try to just exploit that open space. But I don't see Sheffield trying to do that, just because if they do that, they're just going to hit them on the counter, and it'll be quick. I could see us putting the game away in like 30, 45 minutes.
Well, I hope you're right.
We should. Based on
following the game against Fulham at the weekend, my heart could use a little bit of a break. Being perfectly honest,
yeah.
I don't think Paul can lose any much more hair following these stressful games.
Yeah, that's true.
Paul, do you see this week anywhere similarly to the Luton game? I know we keep bringing it up, but it's the only one that I can really compare it to, because Luton played in that low block, and Luton then countered us, and that's how they got their goal in a breakaway play. Do you see that happening again, or do you feel that Luton are a better side than Sheffield and they had the ability to do so, and you just feel like, as you said, Ollie McBurney's out, that's their only goal-scoring threat? Don't be surprised if they sit 5-5. Is this just a game of patience and waiting for the right opportunity?
I think so. Strangely enough, we know that Matip is out because he's injured. But even if he was fit, I would be tempted to rest Matip and play Konate in this game, primarily because we will be spending most of the time high up the pitch with the only risk of a counter. And Konate is so much faster than Matip.
Matip's injured, though.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying,
okay.
This is a game that I would have played Konate even if Matip was available.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because we need the speed, the defender, because our only threat is a fast counter-attack, a fast break. If we lose the ball in a high middle of the field and stuff like that. So in that scenario, we would need recovery speed from our defenders. But other than that, I can't see them troubling us, to be fair, because they just don't have the quality. You know, if we lose this game, I don't know. I don't know if I could live over. You know, I couldn't get it out of my system. I can't even think about it. Even a draw would be devastating.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, you know, they are the 20th team, and then they lost 5-0 to the team at 19. So that should tell you.
Yeah. They may as well be back in the championship now, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's going to be them, it's going to be Burnley, and on barring any more points deductions for Everton, which they could face another 9 to 18 points depending on any new charges that come in or administration from the suing. I can't remember. Have Leicester, Leeds and Burnley turned around and said they're not going to sue them anymore?
No, they haven't said so.
They haven't said so. I'm nearly sure I read that somewhere. Maybe it's just the glitch in the matrix that I'm seeing it, or the Mandela effect, or whatever, maybe. But I thought I'd seen that. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I'd like to see them stay up. But a question that's come in here from Jim Hughes, and I'll throw it to everybody and everybody in the chat as well. I don't know if anybody else has spotted it. This is an interesting situation, considering we were talking about the likes of Bajcetic and we were talking about Endo as well. And Klopp has come out and said that we're not going to sign a midfielder that's going to stunt his development. So maybe the thoughts of a young CDM, and I say young in the ages of 20 to 24, 25, will not be purchased, which I wouldn't be against either, to be honest with you. I'd rather a seasoned veteran in at that position to allow Bajcetic to grow into the role. But Jim Hughes' question: Bayern's interest has apparently cooled on Paulinho. Would you take him in January for 35 to 40 million from Fulham themselves? Menti, I'll throw this question to you. Would you take Paulinho at that price if Bayern's interest has cooled? Or do you feel that we're fine in that position at the moment? We could maybe look elsewhere.
Honestly, knowing FSG, I don't think they'll spend the money, but if they do actually get him, that's just an indication to us that they actually want to win this year. Just because Paulinho is a beast. He is a great player, and if you put him on that Liverpool team, I think we could win the title instantly just because he is that good. But just knowing our owners and stuff, I could see us going for someone younger. building for
Tom,
the future.
you have a similar opinion. We go younger rather than older because the age profile of Paulinho would see him phase out of the squad at 32, 31, when Bajcetic will be 23, 24, and possibly coming into his physical prime. It kind of fits it perfectly.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for that sort of price, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think he's world class at what he does. I don't get his best game on Sunday, but the rest of the time watched him this season, he's just carried on his form from last year. Again this year in the tackles in the Premier League, he's the top by a distance again, which just shows the consistency that he's got as well. So yeah, I can't say it, but for that price, I'd 100% take him. And I think he's a perfect age. He's 28 for a number 6. That's your prime, if not maybe not quite your prime yet. Like that's probably your latest sort of age that you hit your peak. So yeah, for me, I'd be all over it. I think it's good that he'd be phased out about 32, like you said, which is perfect for Bajcetic as well. So yeah, I'd definitely take him. But like Menzi said, I don't think we will. I think we'll end up with Andre or someone similar to that.
Yeah. Paul Hillier mentions here that he feels Paulinho would go straight into the team. He thought he was the best midfielder on the pitch on Sunday, until Trent went into it, I hope. But you've mentioned Paulinho a couple of times previously on other streams and your interest in him. If Bayern's interest has truly cooled on him and it's not possibly a negotiation tactic or agents just leaking some silly season news to the media, would you feel that he could come into our team and have a start and possibly contribute straight away? Because he does play in a double pivot with Fulham at the moment, so it would somewhat be a seamless transition if he was to play alongside Trent.
He's a very, very good player. He probably only have 2 or 3 more years left at his peak. But for 30 million, it's worth it, because if you can win one championship, then 30, 40 million would be worth it. I'm pretty sure that we would not get him for that kind of money anyway.
Yeah.
But and I would not pay 65, 70 million for him just because of the age profile and our needs in other places and what we have in midfield at the moment. At 30 million, it's a no-brainer. But you see, sometimes we as fans, we get too carried away with transfers. The other players on other teams are always better than what we have on our team. As a matter of fact, I was just writing down just before the stream start some of the transfers that we were in for over the last window that we didn't get. And I can't think of much of these guys that went to other teams that we regret. Caicedo 115, Lavia 55, Mount 60, Manuel Ugarte 60 million euros, Amrabat, Matthias Nunes. These are all players that we were, strongly linked to, players that we all wanted, players that we didn't get, and see how they're performing based on what they were sold for. How many of these players do we think that we would that we should be disappointed that we didn't get? Not many, if any. So getting for 30 million fine if it's 60, no.
I only think that his price range is 35 to 40 million pounds because Bayern were interested and they're not selling him to another Premier League team. The second you go and sell to another Premier League team, you can add another 10, 15 million on top of that, because they're not going to try and help you out. That's just the way it goes, especially you're not going to help out a direct rival, regardless of what part of the table you usually find yourself in. Like, what's the point in that? You're not going to help out somebody else to push you further down. I completely agree with you, Paul. I don't see him going for anything less than possibly 50 or 60 million. And I don't think we're going to spend that in January on a CDM. I think we'll end up shoring up the defense a little bit more if we are going to spend some money in January, hopefully. But that is a conversation for another day. Before we finish up today, we're going to get some score predictions. We're going to finish up a little bit early today, just purely because there's not really much news and it's just a match preview and we've kind of gone over all the points that I have here. But I will, Jim Hughes mentions Beraldo as well, Lucas Beraldo from Sao Paulo. He'd be a good shout as well. We were linked with him and have been with reliable Brazilian reports. Tom, I'll come to yourself first. Give me your score prediction and how you see the match going, and also anybody else in the comments as well. Please feel free to fire it in. I know we have Andy's put in here where he feels it'll be 4-1 to Liverpool. Love the optimism, but I'd also love a clean sheet. Tom, what do you think yourself?
I think it might be a tougher game than we all think, just because of the new manager thing. Obviously, the crowd are gonna have a new lease of life. The players are gonna have a new lease of life. So they're probably gonna have a bit of like extra 5-10% in them in terms of their like their output and everything like that. But I'd like to think we'll win 3-0. Sort of get our confidence up in these away games, improve our form, which hasn't been great over the last year, and hopefully sets us up well for the weekend.
Hopefully so. We go into Crystal Palace with a good run, with a good bit of form, considering they have Eze out at the moment. He's still injured at the moment. I think he might be out for a while. But Paul, give me your score prediction and how you see the game going. I see a lot of 2-1s, a lot of obviously you have Andy's 4-1. What do you think it'll be? Do you think we keep a clean sheet, or do you think this will be squeaky bum time for a kind of a game and we just split through?
I think we're gonna keep consecutive clean sheets Wednesday and also against Palace. I'm going for 1-0 halftime, finish the game 4-0 with 2 late goals. So I'm saying 4-0. I'm going to give you also who's going to score the goals too.
Go for it.
Look into my crystal ball. I'm going to get 2 goals from Darwin Núñez.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Salah is still going to be at 0. He's going to have 2 assists, 2 goals from Darwin Núñez, and Endo is going to score again.
Oh, I'd be happy with 2 Darwin Núñez goals. He's in my FPL, and I have Salah captain, so 2 assists for him would do me very nicely as well.
Yeah.
I'd happily take that. You've the 4-0 victory there. Menti, what do you think yourself? Do you think that this is going to be, as you mentioned at the start of the stream, this is either going to be 1-0 or 7-0? So now, question comes to you. What do you think it is going to be? Is it going to be 1-0? Is it going to be 7-0? Or is it going to fall somewhere in between?
Honestly, this goes out crazy. I think it should be 7-0. Like, if you see the midfield scoring that many goals, and if you have the attackers score, I can see this being a brutally beating game. It could be close. You never know. Like Tom said, it could be closer than we think. But me personally, like 7-0. You should beat them 7-0. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Steven, if we lose, would this be the greatest greatest upset in the Premier League era?
Yeah. It depends on how we lose.
No, it doesn't matter if we lose.
Yeah, I think it'd be bad.
So yes and no. It depends on how we lose. I'll give you the context of why I say that. If we get pumped 4-0 by Sheffield United, I will jump out the window. Like that, I would consider that possibly the biggest upset and the worst upset. And I guarantee you bookmakers will lose so much money on that because some lucky bastard will have put a tenner on Sheffield to score more than 3.5 goals and Sheffield to win, and he'll end up walking out with 10 grand from the bookies. 100% somebody's done that bet. But if we were to lose in a similar fashion to how the Spurs game happened, I wouldn't consider it an upset. And now when I say similarly to Spurs, I mean going down a man due to silly calls or whatever it may be, and the tomfoolery that happened in that game, I wouldn't consider it an upset. However, if we lose 1-2, 3-0 straight up, yeah, that's a massive upset and possibly the biggest one of the Premier League season so far. I genuinely do not see any situation where we lose this game tomorrow, and I will be very, very, very upset, and I will be calling for a lot of heads to roll tomorrow if Liverpool don't win. And for anybody that has FPL, Hwang has scored and Kuna has assisted. So everybody that purchased Kuna and brought them into their squad is now reaping the dividends of that, which is not surprising at all. Wolves are up 1-0 against Burnley at the moment, which is pushing them down even further. This is another good question as well. I'd answer this one is, I think he will. I think this is a get-right game for him. I think this will put some confidence back in him after his first Premier League start in a while. So, yeah, hopefully. And Jamie, don't worry, there will be a stream tomorrow if we lose. It's not me hosting it. It's Lou, so Lou will be on. Jesus. Lou will be on, so don't worry. I will be absolutely horrified tomorrow if we lose, but I don't think we will. And I like Jamie's comment here about, well, Kelleher will get the winner 90 plus tomorrow. 100%. Absolutely love it. Come up and just absolutely score a screamer volley on the outside of the box, send it into the top corner, the whole stadium goes nuts. I'd love to see it. But guys, that has been the
What's your
live stream.
prediction? What's your
My
score
prediction.
prediction?
Oh,
Score
my prediction. I forgot about my
Yeah.
prediction. Apologies. I see 3-0 victory. I see Salah getting his 200th, and I see Darwin getting a goal, and I see somebody in the midfield getting a goal. I don't know if it's going to be Gravenberch. I don't know if it's going to be MacAllister. I don't know if Endo is going to get his second one. But I see it being 3-0, finished by about half-time, and then we just cruise to the end. Menti, sorry, I've seen this here. Tell Jamie it's more of a confidence than the quality of the players than a jinx. I can't. What was the jinx about? Apologies, I didn't catch that.
I was saying 7-0, and then I saw in the comments that I'm jinxing it. I'm really not jinxing it. I'm just really confident in our coaching. And
look, Jenna said 8-0. Jenna said 8-0. So your one is now null and void because Jenna
you got to
said
be confident in your players. Sometimes. I mean, this is a game where we should be showing our quality. And then United's coming up, so that's why I said 7-0.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jen, to answer your question, he won't be on tomorrow. He'll be on Thursday with Damon. Damon's hosting on Thursday. He'll be on Thursday. So make sure you stick around for that one. But that is where... Sorry, Paul, you were going to say something.
Well, I was going to say that, by the way, Endo's goal was better than McAllister's goal.
Do you think?
No way. No way.
Okay.
Really?
Hear me out for a second. Endo's goal... We are in the 85th minute, trailing. We are down, 5 minutes to go. He had time to see the ball coming and to think about it in his mind. While McAllister was just, bam, it went in. I just think Endo's goal was just such a quality goal to look up and pick a spot.
Yeah.
And if we were up 2-1, probably I wouldn't be saying this. Right, but based on the time left in the game and the score, it was a beauty.
Okay, but take the context out of it, of that it was the equalizing goal. So if you look at them as their own individual goals, I would agree with you, given the context of the situation, that it was a postage stamp in the top right-hand corner, the keeper's top left-hand corner. It was absolutely beautiful, but take the context out of it for how the game went. So them goals individually by themselves, McAllister was another 10 yards out. Which would you consider them as their own standalone goals then with no context? And would you still consider Endo's to be the better goal?
Probably not. But maybe because of the context, I have more appreciation for Endo's strike. And the way he didn't just hit the ball and hope. You could see the ball coming, take a look, and just place it in the top right corner.
Yeah.
That takes some doing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because if you want to use that logic, you can put it against when we played in Istanbul in 2005, where Vladimir Smicer just piss missile from outside of the box, and Milan Baros, you can see it in the replay when you're looking behind him, he just moves his hand out of the way. That was the best goal of that match, in my own opinion, and so I completely understand where you're coming from. And Jimmy's mentions, like, Endo scores these goals for Japan an awful lot, so hopefully we see another one on tomorrow night. But we will leave it there. Right?
1 second.
One more. Go on.
Last one. I believe that Endo should be our number 6 going forward with McAllister at the 8. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh, you're not. I completely agree with you. I think he's molded into it. Tom, Menti, have you any disagreements in that?
No, I'd rather see a more natural 6 in that position and then put McAllister in his best position.
Yeah, same for me. I think, like we said, Endo's been really good lately. Really impressed. So yeah, and obviously McAllister showed what he can do further forward at the weekend. So I think it's a no-brainer from now on. Yeah,
it's well, no matter who it is, I think somebody needs to move up, move him up, and whoever that may be, whether it be Endo, whether it be Trent moving into that position going forward, and Gomes at right back, or whether it be the likes of Gravenberch filling in there as a CDM, because I think he has the body type, over 6 foot tall, big and strong, can carry the ball and duel well. I think he'd be very good there. But that is it, guys. That is it for us this evening with our match preview. We will see everybody tomorrow for the post-game stream. It will be on about 15 minutes after the final whistle is gone, so make sure you have your notifications on for when that stream goes live. We'll also be tweeting out about it too, so don't worry about that. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Help us hit our 10K mark. We're just about 150, 160 people off hitting our 10K mark. We're on 9,850 something, I believe, is what we're on at the moment. So make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and make sure you have your notifications on for all future streams and videos. Our predicted 11 for tomorrow will be out at about 5 p.m. UK time, so make sure you stick around for that. From myself, from Paul, from Menti, from Tom, thank you guys so much. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you have a lovely evening.